All righty, we are ready finally to talk about emotion envy. Okay, why am I wanting to talk about the emotion of envy? Envy is in general an emotion that many people feel, but I think that especially women are struggling with that. Women and girls are struggling with comparinitis. And comparinitis is actually also, hang on, is also envy. Okay. If we compare ourselves in the age of social media with others, and we are having this yucky feeling, these like, oh, look at her, or look at this, or look at that, feeling in the pit of our guts, it's envy. It's a completely natural emotion, but if it is unchecked, it can be completely detrimental to our self-esteem and to everything else. So when does envy happen? It usually happens when we compare ourselves, right? Like I just said, when we are looking at other people and we see something they do and we say, okay, we want to have the same thing, or we want to do the same thing. And very often, instead of admiring it and saying, oh, look how nice, with the thought, we can have it too, we tear what we want down and say, oh, look at that, must be nice having all these free time, X, Y, and Z, right? How often do we hear this? Somebody saying, oh, must be nice to be able to have that. That's a saying, that's envy right there, must be nice. And the problem with that is that when you think must be nice, you immediately shut down the possibility that you too can have it. And that is arising from a limited belief of you are not good enough, or you are not capable enough, or you are not whatever. Okay. It's a limiting belief. Must be nice. I can't have that much time off. Must be nice. Why? Why wouldn't you be able to have that much time off? You too have an opportunity to change jobs. You too would have an opportunity to, right? We have opportunity to do the exact same thing, because if we see it from someone else and we would believe that we too can have it, even if we're not there just yet, or if we don't know how to get there, if someone else has paved that way for us already, we would be able to go that way too. Okay. Maybe they have different skills than we do. We can learn. If we have a growth-oriented mindset, we can always learn. We can learn the skills, we can find the resources, we can figure out ways, we can have them teach us, but the difference between people who are feeling envy, must be nice, to people who are using that as an example, as a roadmap. See, when you have people who are non-envious, because they have a growth-oriented mindset, what they do is they scroll social media, and instead of thinking, oh, look at them, must be nice, what they do is like, ooh, that's cool, I like that. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, I like that. And they're using that as clues to piece together a vision. Okay, so when you feel in the pit of your heart or your stomach or wherever you feel that envy, what I want you to do is I want you to be really attentive to that feeling. Why am I feeling this? What is at the root of it? Do I feel like, let's say if you're envious of someone's time because somebody has more vacation, then you could ask yourself the question, do I feel envious of that because I need a break too and I am tired? And then you can get curious, how can you get more rest? Because you're really needing rest. Okay. See, this bridge between envy and what your needs are is what's often ignored. that bridge right there, that's often ignored, which leads then to this negative downward spiral of must be nice. They get to do it. I don't get to do it. But that's not true. You too get to do it. You too get to have break, because maybe you don't need to go on that vacation, right? Maybe you just need to have a break. Maybe you don't have money to go on a vacation, but maybe you can take a break in your backyard. What would that look like if you meet it and shift your perspective and you meet it with a curiosity? What could that look like for you? What could that break look like for you? What could the thing that you're wanting and that you're envious about, what could that look like for you? Okay, but you need to have the perspective of, I too can have that. Now, I was just talking about its clues, right? When you have other things, for example, you are jealous or envious of the house somebody is living in, or the car somebody is having, or the jewelry or the clothes or something like that, something materialistic, right? You could use that as a clue, as a roadmap. Like, how could I get this house? Let's say, well, I don't have that much money. Well, you could get curious, how much more money would I need? Where could I be getting that kind of money from? What job would I need to do to get that money? What would that mean to me having that big of a house? See, sometimes we assume we want these things when in fact we may not even want those things. And it sounds kind of weird, but trust me on that. We look at materialistic things, and somewhere in our paradigm, we are primed. Primed is the right word. Yes. We were primed to have the big house, the lot of money, the nice car, right? We are primed to do that. We have to have all these things, the vacations, this American dream. That's the way to go. That's the life. Well, that life costs in forms of a job, in forms of money, in forms of, like time spent. You don't just get that for sitting on the couch and watching YouTube videos. You have to actually do something for it. There's a price for that kind of lifestyle. If you are not willing to pay that price, right? You have to evaluate the disconnect here. Maybe you don't even want that. Maybe what you really want is the feeling that you are thinking this lifestyle will give you. What is that? What is that feeling that you're looking for? What is it? Is it peace of mind that you're financially free? Would it be you probably have a house cleaner or whatever, maybe the time that you want to spend, like again, coming back to maybe the rest, maybe you need more rest. What is at the bottom that you're really wanting? Okay, because we are not thinking the whole spiral through. We are not processing the whole thing. We're just on the surface, scratching the surface. Now, the danger with scratching the surface and just having this emotion without processing this emotion, the problem here is that you are not going through the entire loop. You're stuck. And when you're stuck, your energy is going to be stuck in your system, and you're going to continue to be in this victim mentality. Must be nice. Everyone else is getting to do that. Everyone else is having a vacation. Everyone else is having a cleaning lady or a bigger house, or, yada, 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 is skinnier than me. Or maybe you see everyone else is having time to work out. Everyone else is able to do the things like, but me, right? That is the downward victimhood spiral that is the start of like being unhappy and overwhelmed and miserable, right? And it can cause you to have a lot of anxiety because you are constantly feeling the stress of trying to achieve the things you think you can't have. When in fact, every single thing you're thinking is a complete lie. So some people, I feel like, are more prone to envy than others. For example, social media makes it very easy to be envious. Okay, that's why for a long time, a lot of people said, don't worry about it. Social media is literally only a highlight reel. Trust me, the half of the people you're seeing on social media, if you see them in person, they do not look like they look like on social media. It's actually funny and scary at the same time. So often I look at somebody and I see them in person. I'm like, are you even the same person? Like I'm like going back to like the profile picture and I'm like, I don't know. It's like, and even though my children, it's so funny because even though my children say, Mommy, that does not look like you on the picture. Like my kids sometimes look at the picture and they look at me and they don't see the same thing. Now, granted, my pictures on social media sometimes, like the ones I use for marketing, those were from my photo shoot when I was dressed up in business clothes and had a business photo shoot, right? So clearly this does not look like me on some of the pictures. And so my kids are sometimes thinking like, well, wait a minute. But I mean, if you were looking at my social media and my stories and stuff, often you see me like this, okay, versus always made up. But some other social media channels, you see this persona, this online persona, you don't know what's behind it. So when you start feeling jealous of scrolling, first of all, have that in mind that what you're jealous and envious about may not be real. Okay. So just use that as a clue. What about it do you like? What about it would you really like to have? Would you like to be fitter? Why? What's preventing you from doing it? Curiosity will do all the things. Shifting your perspective, reframing that from I can't have it to I too can have it. What will I need to get there? What will I need to achieve that? Have that? Become that? Right? That's where you need to start. And then when you look at these pictures, that's how your vision starts. Okay. You know where you are at right now. That's what we've been working on, becoming clear on who we are right now. What are we? Who are we? Right? That's where we are right now. What are we dealing with? What trauma are we having? What do we need to heal? We are connecting with ourselves, our identity, right? Our paradigm, what is in there, what thoughts are coming and repeating all the time. And in addition to that, now we're needing to look at where do we want to go? Well, how do we come up with this vision? How do we develop this vision? It's always like everybody say, why don't you just manifest it? Why don't you have this vision? I don't know about you guys, but for me, this was really challenging. I was thinking to myself, I don't know what I want. I've been trained my whole life to please other people and be attuned to their needs. I have never paid attention to what are my needs and what do I want. Because when I was a kid, I was told, you're too much. That is not, no, you are not important right now. Okay. So I tuned that part off. I disconnected with that back then. So then I just became an adult and, started functioning really well. But somehow there was no thinking about what do I want my future to look like? What do I even want to have in my life? All these superficial, you need to have the big house, you need to have this, you need to have that, did not feel right for me. Why do I know that? Because I didn't take the action. I didn't take the action to actually achieve that. Right? So if you do not take the action to achieve that, there's something wrong here with your vision. You don't really want that. Okay. So once I realized it, I started paying attention. What do I like? Where do I get stuck on social media, on looking at people? Like I was starting to become really clear on where is my attention going? Okay. When you watch TV, what are you paying attention to? On social media, what advertisement are you paying attention to? On clothes from people, where are you looking where do you think, oh, this is cool, or that would be nice. Pay attention to these things because they give you clues. And then you can piece together what your vision is going to look like, right? So here's the thing, the villa, for example, I thought I always wanted to have a big villa. So that was something that I've always would say. I wanted a big house. I wanted a big house. Now, the more I'm in tune to myself, I'm thinking, I don't want that big house. I really do not want that big house because A, I like to be together with my family. B, so that's why I'm enjoying my camper because it's small and we're together and I don't have a lot of cleaning to do. And I don't have to worry about the responsibility of all these rooms that I'm needing to be taken care of. Right. And once I started to become attuned to this, I was like, yeah, that vision has got to go off the big house because that's not really what I want. I don't really want that big house. So then the same thing was with the horse ranch. I've always said I wanted the horse ranch, right? Well, do I want the horse ranch? You can't go on vacation when you have the horse ranch because you got to take care of all the animals all the time. Like, and I'm like, I don't know. I kind of want to live by a horse ranch, maybe, maybe I just want to have a horse boarded and that I can like trailer sometimes to go out riding somewhere. I haven't really quite made up my mind yet with what I really want. I mean, part of me wants like a cattle ranch, but then again, maybe I just want to do a couple of vacations a year on a dude ranch, right? I mean, I haven't gotten there yet. So, what I want to say is be playful with your ideas. You do not have to have a big vision that you are like, so I've got to have this for my life and then hang on to something. Just be playful. Try it on for size. If I have learned one thing from being so responsible my whole entire life, is that being playful and being childlike, where you just take something, try it on, and then throw it away, and then you're like, aha, hee hee, this and this, you're going to try over here, and that's okay. And then we're going to do here a little bit. And like, no one nails you down and says, when you're 2 years old, what do you want to be for the rest of your life? Come on now, you are ready to, what's going on? Like, nobody cares. Okay. Be like that. Be like that. Nobody's pushing you to have a vision. Okay. Unless you want to try it. That's why some of the millionaires say if you want to, they go to car dealers and they drive these expensive cars way long before they can even afford them. Why they do that? They do it because they need to try it on for size. They need to smell it. Their brain needs to even know what they're going for. See, we focus on envy. We focus on, well, we're seeing that, but we can never have that. So we're focusing on that now. We can never have that downward spiral. Instead of saying, whoo, here's something curious. Let's go give it a try. How can we get there? Right? And we don't know. And we don't have to commit to it either, right? We don't know if we want it, but we can try it out for size. That's how we have to do it. Then we have to set boundaries. Okay. We have to set boundaries in general on social media, and other sources of comparison. Like if we are people that are struggling with this a lot, then we have to make sure that's why they also say in your morning habits, you're not supposed to have your phone first thing in the morning. If you are struggling with that, you need to have the first hour or half an hour of the day, no phone, just so you have a minute to hear yourself. Because if you are constantly bombarded with other people's influences and other people's things, you have no time to connect with yourself and to hear yourself and to think to yourself, like, what do I even want? Okay. It is important to take that time to zoom out, to get the perspective. What do I even want? You cannot run if you haven't even figured out where to go. And that is what I see over and over and over again. Most people are stuck in confusion, in a rut, same old, It's Monday morning again. Oh my God, is it weekend yet? I can't even, like, you hate your job. Why are you not trying to figure out what else you can do? If you hate your job Monday through Friday, why are you not trying to figure out how you can get more joy in your life? Okay, it's really important to realize you're spending 40 hours a week on something you hate. Seems too much, but everyone does it. Why? And then pay attention to the time spent, okay? So 40 hours of the week you are spending on a job you hate. So you're down and negative and miserable about it. You're trying to find relief by bitching to your complaint and complaining to your coworkers. So you both can like could be in camaraderie together and misery together, okay? Because it's bad enough to be in misery alone. So let's just be in misery together. So that's 40 hours of the week. Then you're on your phone trying to find relief and you're comparing yourself with all the other people. Must be nice. And then you go to bed. And then next day you start the same cycle over and over again. How many Americans, people, let's say people, not just Americans, right? Humans. How many of us are doing this? I know many, many, almost what, 80%, 20%? I mean, yeah, 80% at least of people. That's the paradigm. That's what people do. That must be nice if they get to do something else, right? No, you too get something else. You too get to decide, do I like this job or not? What do I like about this job? What do I not like about this job? Right? You too get to decide, what are my strengths? What would I like to do? What, if I could, would I like to do? What skills would I need to actually make that happen? Who do I know that could give me some information? And if you don't know what it is, why not get curious about it? Can you imagine you're going to spend those 40 hours a week by just taking some action steps after you have clarity, taking some action steps, braving the uncomfortable, going through the gap, right? From where we start, going through this gap that we don't know, the fear of the unknown. But they always say all good things are on the other side of the comfort zone, right? You have to go through the process through to be on the other side. And then the payoff is you're going to gain 40 hours back into your life every week that you actually feel great about because you have aligned who you are at the core, at your identity, with who you are wanting to be. That would be leveling up. Okay. So, in conclusion, here, that is the self growth. That is your prioritizing, becoming aware of envy, becoming aware of fears, becoming aware of your anxiety, becoming aware because they give you clues as to what is not aligned between the person you are now to the person you want to be. And the end goal for every single thing is to live a life with no regrets, right? We want to be old and wrinkly and basically die with a peaceful meaning of like, I've done everything I wanted to do in my life. I'm ready to go. That would be the ultimate goal, yes? And having our children see us living that kind of life and follow that same kind of path. That's what we would want for our kids. We don't want this miserable life for them, yet we're living it. We're showing them how to be miserable. Am I right? We are showing them how to be miserable, just like our parents showed us how to be miserable. Somewhere that generational cycle needs to be broken. I've heard this really cool story, and I'm going to end it with that. The visual that you have to have in mind is you have the baton in the hand. You're running a race, right? Your parents gave it to you in your hand. Now it's your turn. You're running around the track with the baton in your hand. You're running. Now it's your turn. Eventually, you're going to give the baton to your child, and then it's their turn. Make sure you run your race. Do not get off track. And then what? You're going to trip and fall, and then you're not going to even give it to your child. Like, it, to me, that's a powerful visual where I'm thinking like, oh shit, I do have that thing in my hand. It's my turn right now to keep the team going here. It's my turn right now to make sure I'm making a clean turnover at the end of my race. What do I want to turn over to them? Shit mindset? No. What do I want to turn over to them? Victimhood? No. No one ever thinks about this. What do we want to turn over to our children? Right? We have to think about this because now is our turn to show them exactly what we want them to do. But we can't do it if we are not the leader of the pack. We need to do it. We need to figure it out. We need to see envy as our clues. We need to then brave and have boundaries and work through this gap so we can give the baton peacefully and say, here you go. It is your turn. All right, that was the end of that. I'm going to stop the recording and we're going to have some Q&A that is only there for live people. So everyone who's watching the replay is not going to be able to ask a question. And Laura is the lucky one today. All right, I'm going to stop the recording now. If I can find it. Hang on, where is it? Oh, there.